So you get to run this one back again. We know how it went down the first time. And just tell us how excited are you for this fight? And the fact you got the win the first time must give you confidence.
Yeah, it's been a while since we fought. Cowboy's a totally different fighter. Actually, we're pretty good friends now. We fought way back. 7 years ago probably. But the guy who he is, he's just ready to fight, and I love that. Same thing with me. I'm ready to fight anytime, any place, anywhere. Especially what's going on in the world, and they gave us the stage they gave us. ESPN main event. The world's gonna be watching. It's my job to go in there and put some entertainment for the world.
I heard that leading up to this fight being signed, you were kind of calling and messaging each other and saying, "Hey, have you signed it yet? Have you signed it yet?" So there's definitely that friendship there. Does that make it even harder to step in the cage and fight one another?
I don't think so. I fought Wonder Boy. Wonder Boy is one of the nicest dudes ever, and that's like one of the moments where you're like, man, it's like about a sport. For me, it was about the sport. Same thing with this one. Cowboy, I beat him the first time. We're definitely friends, but this is our profession. This is our job to put on entertainment for the world, and somebody has to win. So that's what it is.
And it takes place at welterweight, of course, this time. The last time you fought was at lightweight. What difference does that make to you, and who do you feel it gives the edge to, if any?
Well, I just feel like it was short notice for both of us. I think they called us like 3 weeks ago for this fight, 3.5 weeks ago. So getting down to 55 for both of us would have been hell. So I think it made sense for us to take it at 170 and put on a show for the world. I don't know if it really gives an advantage because Cowboy's he's not gonna go in there and wrestle me. Maybe we'll see. I doubt it though, but I doubt that he's gonna go in there and try to hold me down. It's gonna be a striking match that the world wants to see, and that's what I'm excited to go out there and do.
And your own wrestling's underestimated as well. But how do you plan to play out this fight? Do you want to stand and trade, or will we see any of your wrestling?
Yeah, you know what? If he does decide to wrestle, I got jiu-jitsu. I got the skill set. This is a mixed martial arts fight, so I'm expecting anything to happen. But knowing his style, knowing my style, it makes for a great stand-up fight.
And obviously, this is a very different fight week to what you've been used to in the past, for everybody. But what's been the most different thing for you? Are you normally in your room anyway, just kind of hiding away, or do you like to get out and about? What's the testing procedure been like?
Yeah, it's not been that weird. Obviously, the first day we got here, not to know what to expect. The testing procedure, that was obviously weird. But for me, fight week is just me in my room, getting on weight. Usually all of us are cutting weight anyway. And then without the crowd, that's going to be the weird part. No fans out here. There's no one, trying to get autographs or sneak in the hotel. So it's actually, I love it, man. Like, this quarantine taught me a lot about how much time I was wasting training. I was doing 3-4 hours sessions a day, 3 sessions a day, like crazy. I was doing a lot of training. I'm 33 years old. I've been doing this for a long time. But this quarantine made me step back and look at the process I was using to get ready for fights. And I had to do it way different this time. And I love the way we had to do it. I feel like I really learned this camp because all the practices were about me. It wasn't a group of guys trying to get better, me sharing advice, or us trying to get together as a team. It was, how do we get Anthony Pettis better, and how does Anthony Pettis win this fight?
And putting on a show aside, how important is this fight and getting a win for you personally with the trajectory of your career now, especially in the welterweight division?
Yeah, you know what? I'm in one of them spots. It's kind of weird because I took some risk. I went down to, I won the world title at 155 pounds. I fought for a world title at 145 pounds. And then I'm jumping up to 170 pounds. So I'm kind of like all over the place with my fights. I'm trying to find a home. Once I find a home where I feel comfortable. I think 170, I felt great, but in the Diaz fight, totally different feeling. So this is my 3rd time at it. The weight cut is the best. This week in fight week, I don't have to cut any weight at all. 3 pounds, I float that by the time I get to tomorrow. So my energy's good. The attitude's well. It's just getting the results that I want in these fights.
So tell us, what can the fans look forward to seeing from you on Saturday night?
Man, we're the main event, prelims. The world's tuning in, ESPN, and when the lights come on, it's showtime. Can't wait to get out there and perform.
On BT Sport as well here in the UK. Thanks ever so much, Anthony.
Thanks.
Thank you. Next, we have Nolan King with USA Today.
Hey, Anthony, I appreciate your time, man. First question for you. You just kind of touched on it. You said you like taking this fight because you and Cowboy are such good friends. You like him as a person. Style-wise, stylistically, and maybe excitement-wise, what do you like about this fight?
Man, what the world likes about this fight. The first fight we fought, I got him out of there quick. I think we only had like 4 exchanges in between us. So we didn't see the full fight play out. See what happens after that. So I think the world knows what kind of fighters we are. Cowboy comes to bring it. He had a bad performance his last fight. I come to bring it. I had a bad performance my last fight. And throw us in the cage. Doesn't matter if there's no fans around or anything. This is what we do. This is what we love to do. And I think you guys are going to see that in the octagon.
And you talk about that first fight that it wasn't really, you guys weren't able to get going, so to speak. It was so quick.
Yeah, I got going. He didn't get going.
You did get going. So how much are you able to read into that first fight? Is it something you can even look at, or have you guys changed so much that and it was so quick that it doesn't really matter?
Oh no, man! When you beat somebody, it's always there in the back of their head. No matter what, I don't care how many fights you have past that. Your loss is a loss. So I feel like I got the mental advantage already. And I know his weaknesses. He knows my weaknesses. It's going to be who can exploit it, who's in better shape, who's ready to fight, and who wants it more.
And talking about Cowboy's last fight, I know there was a lot to be made about it, a lot of discussion back and forth. Kind of, what was your take on it for when you went back and watched it, or maybe you watched it live?
Well, I didn't watch it live. I fought that night, and then I had a horrible performance in my last fight. I just didn't feel like myself out there. And that's the worst. Doing that training camp. I went back to 155 pounds. I did my own weight cut. I busted my butt in that camp. I worked 12 weeks, and I felt amazing. And then I had a shitty performance. And then you got this camp. It's 3 weeks, and I feel amazing again. So now it's just time to go out there and perform, man. It's like, for me, it's just being able to perform under this pressure right now.
And talking about Cowboy's performance in his last fight, he kind of talked about the mental side of it, and he said he wasn't completely there. But he said that for this fight, he feels like he's turned it on. Do you feel like that will be the case, that when you step in there, this last loss for Cowboy won't have affected him too much?
Man, honestly, I didn't watch the Conor fight too much. Like, I didn't watch it live. I did touch up on some of the stuff he did. It's a short fight. It's hard to pick what happened. I think he said it right. He tried to shoot a double leg. He got hit with a hip, and it changed the whole trajectory of the fight. He threw a nice high kick. Conor blocked it in return, and Cowboy got faded. It's not normal Cowboy behavior. So you could tell he was had some cobwebs from that first, whatever happened, the shoulder strikes or the hip strike, whatever it was. But that's the name of the game, man. I got to go out there and start quick. We all know Cowboy, once he gets going, he gets going. So it's my job to get out there and get going quick.
How cautious do you think he'll be at the body shot?
Very cautious. I mean, and it's going to be a kick. Obviously, if I go southpaw, that's the scenario he's looking for, that southpaw body kick. But that's not all I have, man. I got so much more striking wise, so I'm excited to go out there and just perform. And the way I feel right now is I can fight. I'm not dying from a weight cut. It was only a 3-week camp. It's like a real fight.
Appreciate the time, Anthony. Thanks, man.
So.
Thanks, Nolan. Next up, we have Damon Martin from MMA Fighting.
Anthony, we talk so much about the mental side of fighting, and Cowboy has taken a lot of criticism, some fair, some unfair, about the way he kind of falls short in big fights. How big is that mental aspect, and will you look for those kind of things in this fight? Because he has been traditionally a bit of a slow starter. He's talked about that. Are there parts of that you can't take advantage of? Most
definitely. The slow starting for sure. That's something that you have to get up quick on Cowboy. Once he starts getting that momentum going and he gets his confidence, that's when he does well. And I've seen him fight somebody. We sparred together. We trained together. We sparred together. We already fought. So, there's a lot of history with us. But, coming into that Conor fight, it's totally different than this fight. He doesn't have the pressure, all that media. I saw him out there in Vegas, and, he had cameras in his face. It was a lot, for him to handle. And, that's just not his way of fighting. Not sure, bro, honestly. But for me, I like the fact that I have the mental edge because I beat him, and I only had a 21-day camp. I'm healthy and really went out there and fight.
And Cowboy said, he told me when I talked to him a week ago, he said that stylistically, a fight with you and him is always going to be fun. You kind of know what you're going to get in a fight like this. But do you feel like stylistically that, Cowboy is a favorable matchup for you when you look at his striking versus your striking, style versus style? And it's not an insult, but do you feel like this is kind of a favorable matchup for you?
I do. I feel like as long as I play an athletic game, his style of striking is something I've seen a million times. So I gotta get out there and a little bit of reinventing going on for this coming up into this fight. But everybody knows what I'm good at, man. It's just getting out there and making me do it first. I gotta go do it first.
Throughout your career, Anthony, you've been to the top of the mountain as champion, and because you've done that and you've always had such high expectations, people always expect you to get back there. What is your mindset now at this stage of your career? Is it still championship? Is it still I want to get back to the title? Because, again, there's always going to be an expectation because you've been there. People see that out of you. We always kind of see you in those fights. Is that still the end goal? Where do you put yourself at, coming off a loss and then going into Cowboy? Like, is that still the mindset? I want to be a champion.
Yeah, I think this quarantine taught me a lot about mindset, man. Like, usually that's what I would go into. Like, who's the next big guy I can fight? Who's going to get me in line for a title shot? 170, 145, 155. I didn't really care. This quarantine made me slow it down a little bit and take a look at my career and be like, when you're in the trenches, you don't really who's next. You don't sit back and like analyze what happened and what got you to the point where you're at right now. And I got to do that in this quarantine, man, and I just see some of the mistakes I was making, a lot of the wasted time in practicing. I was never doing lazy training camps. I'm not a lazy dude. I bust my ass every time I train. But if I'm doing an hour and a half practice and an hour of that practice is to get other guys better and 30 minutes of that is getting me better, do the math on that. I'm not getting that my full capacity of what I'm giving into the sport. So the quarantine made me look back at that. And I always said it. I wanted to do training camps differently. Coming off a loss, I'm like, yo, this camp I'm doing it different. But then that format's just always there. I own the gym. It's in my hometown. If I want to get in shape, I go show up at 1:30. It's professional practice at Root for Sport. We have pad work at 7:30, and I do my strength and conditioning 9 a.m. And that was my life. That's been my life. And this quarantine made me pull back a little bit. Like, man, there's wasted time here. There's wasted time here. There's wasted time here. My objective now is to win fights. I don't care if it's a title shot. I don't care if it's Cowboy Cerrone on 21-day notice. Win the fight.
Thank you, Anthony.
Next, we have Carlos Contreras.
Hi, Anthony.
Hi, bro.
Just a follow-up what you were talking right now. Do you see yourself as a 155 fighter now or a 170? Because 2 years ago you fought Tony, and you were close in that fight when the corner stopped the fight. And I mean, it seemed like if you won that fight, you could be fighting for the belt now. So where do you stand, or where do you feel that you stand now?
I think I need to get my confidence back, and that's what I'm focusing on now. I really, like I said, I had to go back, and this quarantine made me just readjust everything. Like, look at, I don't feel like I'm like, even when I practice, man, I'm better than most of the guys I train with. It's just putting it together in the octagon in these moments that matter. So like I said, I'm focusing on the little moments now, winning the minutes, winning the rounds, winning the fight before I try to jump back into where am I going to win a world title at. I went down 145 pounds to try to get a world title. That shows you how dedicated I am to this. That was crazy for me to get down to there. And, I fought Max Holloway. It didn't go my way, but that's how much I wanted it. I was willing to give pretty much an arm to make 10 more pounds lighter to get a world title.
And just for this particular fight, you will be headlining in ESPN. Millions of people are going to be watching. And it's the first American sport that is coming back. And I know people is watching baseball from Korea or some other stuff that is happening live. But this is going to be the first event that is going to be watched by a bunch of people. You're going to be headlining against Cowboy. What kind of opponent do you expect? Obviously, they were asking you about this. I mean, Cowboy got a lot of criticism. Do you expect him to be more aggressive than usually? Or what kind of a fight are you expecting to put on a big show? I mean, obviously, that could do a lot for your next fight aspirations.
Yeah, man, this is a huge fight. I mean, the world's watching. Obviously, what we're going through right now is crazy for everybody. But this brings back a little bit of normalcy to the world, like being able to come put on a live event, and main eventing the undercard. That's something that's like going to be watched crazy. ESPN's is going to be watched throughout the world. So it's my job to carry the UFC flag, my brand into this fight and make sure I put on a show. And I think the UFC put us in this spot for a reason. They know what kind of fighters me and Cowboy Cerrone.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Anthony.
Done?
Done.
Oh, man, easy.